We now move more deeply into a time of worship, shaping worth and meaning from the ordinary as a way to honor the gift of life we all share. Together, let us kindle a flame symbolizing our co-creation of sacred space here and at home, in our places made sacred by years of love. As you do, those of you on Zoom, please write in the chat that a chalice is lit on your street. You will find a card in the pew with unison words. Please say them with me. We are a welcoming people of diverse beliefs who commit to nourish the spirit, broaden the mind, nurture the earth, and build community. May this flame we kindle remind us to strive today and every day to love beyond belief. Now, let us join.
Our Soul Matters theme for December is wonder. So let's begin our journey with insights and advancements from scientists, with stories of the wonderful, and from our own lived experience. And today my lived experience includes coughing, so let me do that over here. I remember a late night once as a child riding in the back seat of the family car. "Mom," I asked, "why is the moon following me?" She laughed and said, "It isn't." Her answer to my wondering was true, of course, though she likely had many more pressing and immediate matters on her mind than my idle observation and speculation. It was also likely my mother didn't know how to explain the phenomenon to me, that the distance of the moon from the earth and the size of the earth and moon relative to the rocks and trees and cars conspired to create the illusion that the moon followed me home that evening, and on other evenings I noticed it too. Perhaps it's better that my mother could not give me a scientific answer, because my wondering did not end, not even with her laughter. In a way, an important way for me, it doesn't matter that I know now the explanation for why the moon seems to follow me. The appearance that the moon follows me keeps me full of wonder, and the wondering enabled by my sense of the mystery at the heart of everyday life that persists long after childhood, very long. According to Albert Einstein, there are only two ways to live your life. One is though nothing is a miracle, the other as if everything is a miracle. Reductive as that might be, really only two ways to live? Reductive as that statement might be, it's significant that it comes from a scientist, a creator of knowledge based on data collection and the scientific method. And it seems clear to me that though the statement presents a choice, I think I know what's the way of living that's the privileged one, the validated one, the one worth living. It's significant that such a statement comes from a seeker of truth, of true explanations about how our universe works. It's significant that such a phenomenon, there are only two ways to live your life. One as though nothing is a miracle, and one as if everything is a miracle. But that comes from a thinker like Albert Einstein, because we are reminded that knowing begins in wondering. Knowledge begins in mystery and in the contemplation of the miraculous, the stunning, the wonderful, the beautiful. We can know, we can have scientific explanations for how our universe and how our world works, how our bodies and minds work, and yet those explanations do not take away any of the wonder, the mystery, the miracle that continues to present itself to our eyes if we only open them to awareness. Here we are together, setting aside time in this month of wonder. The word wonder is a marvelous thing in itself. We might say, I wonder. Wonder, a verb, an action, signifying thoughtfulness and contemplation and curiosity about something, especially something very mundane and ordinary. I remember finding my daughter once behind a hedgerow in our yard, having followed the garden hose she had dragged along with her. She was busy making a puddle and watching her pink toes squish in mud, sticky, wet earth rising as she pressed her foot down, brown water dripping as she raised it. Mud is so ordinary, so are feet. Wondering how one's own foot interacts with water and mud. That's wonderful. She didn't ask me any questions as I had asked my mother about the moon. She just looked at me, looking at her as she looked at her toes and the mud. She was making her own answers, I'm sure of it, coming to her own conclusions through her own experiments. I still wonder exactly what she was thinking. She's never told me. Have you some memory like that? Some wonderful image from your life where you wondered about something quite ordinary? I invite you to reflect on such a happening just for a moment. That word wonder is a marvelous thing in itself. We might say that something is a wonder, a noun signifying something extraordinary or miraculous, something far beyond the ordinary. What comes to mind for me are those photographs coming from the James Webb telescope, showing us the far reaches of the universe. In Western tradition, the ancient Greeks between the 6th and 4th centuries before the Common Era were aware that the moon, along with the sun and the wanderers, what we now call the planets, they moved differently in relationship to the earth than did the stars. So long ago, they were figuring it out. And in this same familiar tradition, the one we learn in school, scientists give Halley in 1718 or Bessel in 1838 the credit for the earliest knowledge of a star's distance from the Earth. Scientific data builds up over time, the work of one preparing for and enhancing the work of the other or the next advance. That telescope, that fragile human-made machine, it moves far beyond the reach of any one human being, past or present. Scholars and engineers use the science at our human disposal to recreate images that we can grasp with our eyes, with the processes of our brains. It is a wonder, the universe rendered in this way, our home, and yet a mystery to us, the sky, both clear black and full of color and light at the same time. a wonder beyond what we can see on our own. Yet we are part of what makes that seeing possible, part of the lineage of human curiosity and contemplation that makes such knowledge usable and inspiring. Have you some experience of such wonderful knowledge? When new worlds opened up visible and yet beyond the ordinary? I just invite you to reflect on that for a minute. The moon continues to follow me, even as I know it follows you too. Last summer, I stood with my children and my daughter's significant other on a deck of a house on the Hood Canal, a fjord outside of Seattle, Washington. The full moon had drawn me outside. A pathway of light shimmering across the water linked me directly to the moon above, a shimmering pathway just for me. And then it was as if I could see the shimmering pathway linking Liam to the moon, and another linking Helen to the moon, and another linking Evan to the moon, just as the one light linked me. I could actually see only the one pathway of light, and yet I knew we were each seeing that pathway just as if it were for each one of us alone. What a wonder and a mystery and a miracle. Yes, the scientific explanation still holds the distance and the size and the matter of individual perspective. For that brief moment, though, I held my own vision, and I could see the visions of Liam and Helen and Evan too. And I can still see it. When I look up into the night sky, I am in awe of all that is. There is a faraway galaxy, a star has died, yet it is still bright for my eyes to see. I peer out into the endless horizon, knowing the presence of places beyond where I can see. When I sit around the fire, I feel its warmth enter me without ever touching me. Wherever I am, I take in a breath, and I know I am in the present moment in all of these wonders. My fervent wish is that generations upon generations also have the chance to look beyond the horizon and marvel at the wonder of experience. Our reality offers so much variety and diversity, complex patterns of beauty, creating the web that holds us all, outside of which we do not exist. Sometimes, though, we have to imagine an outsider's perspective, like an alien coming to our world, visiting from another planet, in order for us to see again the close-up miraculous that over-familiarity can obscure. And still, there are lots of things we don't know, like where we were before we were born, or where we go when we die. But right in this minute, we are here together on this beautiful planet. Science has not explained those larger questions, not yet, maybe not ever. Why are we here? What our purpose is, why we were born and why we die, what happens after, why we care about each other. Science tells us much about how and when, but not so much about why. Not so much about why we can be moved to tears by moonbeams and sunrises and children playing in the mud. Experiencing mystery at the center of the everyday is a crucial frame for living. Our togetherness matters, amplifying the vision that creates science and makes for the wonderful and the miraculous. The word wonder is a marvelous thing in itself. We might say that someone is wonderful. Someone is wonderful, meaning that they are terrific, pleasing, delightful, perfect, brilliant, other words of that sort. Someone so good, so great, miraculous even. That person is both a wonder in themselves and makes the rest of us feel full with wonder. I believe we all have a person like that in our lives, someone who brings wonder and joy with them because of the way they experience life. I just invite you to reflect for a minute on that person for you. Perhaps wonder is intrinsic to the universe. Perhaps it is intrinsic because we are part of the universe and we are full of wonder and wondering. We are the universe wondering about itself. We are wonderful because we continue to open in awareness and gratitude to mystery and miracle, and that makes us miracles too. Especially so, especially our living is miraculous when our personal concerns and situations overwhelm us. When the world news continues to alarm and to batter us, when some of our siblings in this life, queer siblings, Jewish siblings, black and brown siblings, poor and ill and addicted siblings, when they are threatened and abused too often. Especially our living is miraculous when we fear for our lives and those of future generations on a changing planet, when we feel as tiny specks in a vast universe going about its eternal and impersonal business. When all these truths are real and impactful, and still we choose again and again to seek community with each other, to work together for a common good, to love each other. Our ability to wonder is creative and sustaining, miraculous regardless of explanation, when we see the mud through the toes and the eyes of a child. When we allow ourselves to truly participate, to revel in the everyday miracle of moonbeams and sunrises. And we are most miraculous, most wonderful when we honor our different perspectives, build new perspectives from our proximity and our differences, when we allow ourselves to revel in the everyday mystery of each other and how together we put a world together, how we build a reality in which to live together with shared values and a sense of decency toward each other, most especially when we disagree. Mystery beyond understanding, wondrous and miraculous. We face questions that we know can't be answered and tragedies that we know can't be explained. There are lots of things we don't know, like where we were before we were born or where we go when we die. But right this minute, we are here together on this beautiful planet. Morning is broken like the first morning, Morning is always breaking. Should we not praise it? All that it is, the light, the sound, the sweetness of ever new possibility. This morning there were 3 deer eating in my garden. Nobody was shooting at them. I learned a new sound that a squirrel makes. So much new possibility. As our lives flow on, mixed and mingled with those before us and those ahead of us, like scientists building knowledge upon knowledge, can we not listen for an endless song of wonder above our lamentations of grief, of oppression, of injustice, of destruction? There is a real, if far off hymn of new creation, of a wonder we can together in compassion and companionship sing into existence in the here and now. May the living, breathing creatures that we are feel the breath of life moving in us and through all things, bringing us into greater union with the mysterious universe of which we are a part, as you remember today and every day that you are loved, you are worthy, you are welcome, and you are needed. May you feel it so. May it be so. And may we say together, Amen. That we will remain committed to sustained and robust relationship with each other, to the vision of our faith community, to the values of Unitarian Universalism, and to the interdependent web holding us all. As Diane extinguishes the sanctuary chalice, please extinguish your chalice at home. Say the words with me, which are on your pew cards. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.